Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Mind your business. Only on Money FM 89.3.
Welcome to Mind Your Business. I'm Ahmad Akhtar alongside Audrey Seek. What comes to mind when you think of leadership in today's fast-paced, high-pressure world? I think of my wonderful colleague, Audrey Seek.
Wow.
Perhaps for most of us, though, it's strategy, KPIs, or green on the screen.
Yes, but our next guest wants leaders to think beyond just the numbers. So for her, leadership is about who you are at your core, how self-aware you are, how you connect with people, and whether you can inspire real, lasting, meaningful change.
With over 30 years of leadership experience across corporate and entrepreneurial settings, our next guest is apt to tell us how leaders can unlock their full potential and spark transformation that sticks.
So let's welcome her to the show, Wendy Wong, Managing Partner of Petadiri Leadership Development and Advisory PLT. Good morning, Wendy. Happy Friday. Great to have you on the show.
Good morning, Audrey. Good morning, Imad. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you on, Wendy. And I'm going to throw you a quote. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Does that sound about right to you?
Yes, it does. So thank you so much for that. And I did love the fact that you started the discussion on leadership early. And I love the fact that you said leadership depends on the context as well. So in what context, right? So yes, it does make a lot of difference to not only lead, but show the way. And now leaders are expected to also become the way.
Yeah, so you've worked with so many different types of leaders, from C-suite executives to small business owners. What's the biggest shift you've seen in how people define or expect leadership to look like over the past decade?
In terms of shifts, I think the first thing we need to recognize is that different companies or different organizations have different culture. And the stage of that development is something that we need to take into account. If you look at the general trend of it, you would see that in the past, in the olden days, and sometimes some people are still practicing this, is that leadership is just about the results and just getting the KPIs, the numbers in. However, as you can see, the trend and the statistics and all the information, the data is showing that we do need that people engagement. And you see a lot of organizations now doing people survey to make sure that the people are engaged, because it does make a difference. It does make a difference, and therefore leaders are about performance with people and to see people as part of the whole recipe to deliver. And I think nowadays, with all the new transitions that's happening and all the disruptions that's happening, I think leadership is also your ability to communicate authentically and also think agile. Think in a way that you can navigate the people forward in such situations.
Yeah, Wendy, could you share with us an example of a time you worked perhaps with a client who had a leadership blind spot and how you helped them shift?
Yes. One thing quite interesting in terms of shifts is that self-awareness. And it's interesting because the common thinking is that as we grow older and more experienced and, climb the corporate ladder, we are better. Yes? But in terms of self-awareness, as you go higher, you can become less and less self-aware because the feedback that's coming to you is less and less. Right? People adjust what they say to you. And so blind spots become even more dangerous, especially you're leading at a high level and people are not telling you what you need to know. So one of the things that we do is to help people understand the need for safety and for people to be able to share their feedback well. And by creating that culture of feedback, then blind spot starts to show up better. Like you can see where the blind spots are, and then you don't step into it unknowingly. So as we grow higher in the corporation, it's really, really more important to expand yourself, create that safe space so that you don't get into your blind spot. Once you know your blind spot, a lot of leaders, they know what to do about it, but just being able to see it is a challenge, especially at higher levels.
Yeah, I do agree that creating a solid feedback mechanism in the corporate space is important, but I want to double down on your comments on self-awareness. How do you actually build that muscle? Are there small daily practices that can help?
One, I think it's, the small daily practice, I would say, is that intention. The intention to know, because it's not easy sometimes, and our ego does get in the way. So that intention of understanding the power of it, and wanting it. So I think that's the first part of it. That's a mindset shift in itself. And then once you want it and you want to learn more about it, it's quite natural to be a lot more reflective and to invite people to give you feedback and to also encourage people by rewarding them when they, like, you say thank you instead of saying, why do you say that? I get defensive. So I think the practice starts with the mindset of wanting and knowing that having a deeper self-awareness will help you. It's going to protect you. It's going to help you navigate, and it's going to help you and your business navigate.
So you've worked with so many leaders at the top of their game. So can you share maybe an example of someone you coached who made a huge shift, not just in performance, but in mindset, and what that transformation kind of looked like?
Yes. Different leaders come to me at different state of mind. Some people like, I don't know why I'm here, but I'll give it a go kind of thing. And others are already like, yeah, I'm ready to open up and I'm ready to get into it. So different people would have different state when they come in, and I would say that it's okay. Now, there are quite a lot of great shifts that I would see, but I think one that stands out for me was there was a senior leader, and he came to me, and he's technically strong, and he also was self-aware that he's like, okay, I'm technically strong, but I don't know what you can do for me, but let's go for it. So it started that way, and in one conversation, within a conversation, and my conversations are pretty short, it's like in half an hour or 45 minutes, you can see the shift, that opening, like, aha, okay, there's something here, because it's like they experienced it. And then through the journey, we worked together for about 6 months. Through the journey, you could see how he becomes an advocate for what we do and coaching and discussion. And he actually said, Wendy, just to let you know, if it's okay, I'm going to use some of your techniques because I think it's really working with my... I said, go ahead, do it, because it's like, being empathetic and listening and holding people accountable by mirroring is... it's good. Go for it. And he also said, Wendy, I have used how I've experienced this whole process to my family as well. And he had a teenage boy. And he said, I'm using some of this listening skills and this conversation skills to really strengthen the connection with my family. So I was elated, from cross your hands, I don't know what I'm doing here, to the point that, hey, this really works.
Wow.
And I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great stuff, Wendy. But I'm also curious to know, for senior leaders, experienced leaders, how they deal with imposter syndrome, because that is real. How do you coach someone through that inner critic?
Yes, it is a very real one. And, one of the things that why I'm the founder of Petadiri, just to share a little bit, Peta means Matt and Diri means yourself. And I felt that this is a space where leaders need to have a lot more support. And that's where I believe that, you need to be able to feel like the path is it fake it to make it. And I really get the fake it to make it movement, because, yes, you've got to be someone a bit more different, just stretch yourself, get into your uncomfort zone, which I'm all supportive of. But the word fake it, I think, makes people feel that it's an imposter. And I would go for grow it to make it, like grow it. And the way we want to grow it is through authentic leadership. Yeah, just being authentic. And so when you are successful, you feel that, it's your path, your world, the way you want to do it. And leaders need that a lot more right now.
Yeah, so we're also in the middle of a digital era, right, Wendy? With AI, with remote work, constant disruptions. So with all of these trends, how do you keep your coaching kind of relevant with so many changes in the way that we work and lead today?
I think in terms of the AI, it's a big disruption. You can see the trends. It's really disrupting the markets and all that stuff. So in a way, it's great, because it allows us to play at a different level. It allows us to play at a higher level. Now that AI and technology supports a lot of other work that we do, we as humans, we get the opportunity to think bigger, to think higher, to dream more, and to make it happen. So I think that it's really something that works, because through my coaching process or through our conversations, I create a safe space And it's a space not just for a conversation, but a structured space for leaders to navigate, especially at this time where it's quite disruptive. There's, change is always there. Everything changes by the day. You can see tariffs and all that. So you need leaders to be able to create that thinking space, and thinking with someone who is trained and structured to help them gain more from the time that they are thinking is a big plus to any leader.
Yeah, Wendy, leadership also looks pretty different across cultures. Now, you work across Asia. How do you navigate or bridge different cultural approaches to communication?
In terms of communication and cultures, that's a great question. Now, one of the things that as a leader I would always encourage is to not just go where you want to go. I think it's really important to slow down and to meet people where they are, right? To be there, to empathize, to understand the environment, to understand the values, to understand the desires, and then connect first. Connect before anything else. And once you're connected and there's a two-way understanding, it's a lot easier to move people along. And I can see that across the different cultures, that once you're able to connect and people feel that you are true, you're real, you're trustable, then conversations happen. So I would say take that moment to really empathize and connect with the environment.
Okay, so connection seems to be very important. If you could leave our listeners, who I'm sure many of them, and us actually, want to be better leaders, if you could leave them with one piece of leadership advice, especially for those who are maybe navigating uncertainty or leading through transformation, what would it be?
That's a great question, Audrey. I think that I'll throw a quote in as well. I'm just going to go with it, kind of thing. And it's about not going alone. So if you want to go fast, you go alone. Mm-hmm. And you want to go far, you go together. And I would encourage, and that's a quote, I think, from an African proverb or something, but generally speaking, I would encourage leaders not to go at it alone. This is a very disruptive environment. It requires different perspectives. It requires inclusive thinking. It requires us to hear from different ideas from different people. And so don't go at it alone, right? Gather thoughts, synthesize it, and then go together, right? And be strong together. And that would be what I would encourage.
Yeah, it's great advice, Wendy. Final thoughts before you go. Who's one leader that has inspired you in your life journey? It could be someone in the business world or in your personal life. If you could just name drop one name or a few, that would be great.
Yeah, my dad is the one. He has been a leader for us from a family perspective. He walks his talk and all that. So that's something, he's someone that I look to. He's an amazing leader, and he's, shown us what integrity means and what having courage means. And he's done a lot for the family, and we really, and now that he's grown older, I realized how much impact he has created for his environment, where people come up and speak about him. So I would say it's my dad.
Yeah, that's such a lovely answer. Shout out to your dad, who I'm sure has inspired more than just you, but the people around him as well. And this has been such an insightful conversation about what it really means to lead in today's world, not just with strategy, but with self-awareness, with purpose and authenticity. Thank you so much, Wendy, for joining us on the show today. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Audrey. Thank you, Imad. It's a pleasure. I've had such a great time. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, we had a great time. Thank you for leading the way. Wendy Wong is managing partner of Petadiri Leadership Development and Advisory PLT, and you're listening to Money FM 89.3.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.